Welcome back to our online event, Get Your Life Back. Right now, I'm excited to welcome Silvia Pencak. I am Beth Genly, your host, and Silvia is the CEO and founder of Powerful Life Consulting. She specializes in change management and business leadership growth on a global scale. Silvia has nearly 20 years of experience leading transformational change across a wide array of industries. Her wealth of experience equips leaders and teams to navigate culture issues, elevated seasons of stress, don't we know about those, and fast-paced change to achieve peak performance. Welcome to our online event, Silvia. I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you, Beth. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, wonderful. Now, I noticed that you've titled this conversation, Taming Sasquatch, Strategies for Leaders. What do you mean, Taming Sasquatch? That's so intriguing.
I love this title. You know, it makes me giggle every time I say it because that's exactly how I look at it. You know, when I look at high-level executives or entrepreneurs, I immediately have a picture in my head of people who come to me close to burnout, and they are either overwhelmed, they are pursuing life-work balance that doesn't exist because they want to do 100% in every area. So they set themselves for failure. They are putting off fires. They are just pursuing what they can't achieve. So that's why taming the Sasquatch. You can't do it. Sasquatch is untamable. So someone tells them to do something, they drop everything and run. Most employees in the companies we've worked with tell us that it's a miracle anything actually gets done in the companies. It's a reality of today, right?
So you work with leaders at the top of companies. What do you see as the biggest obstacles to, you've already talked a little bit about how stressed we can get putting out fires and chasing all the things we have to get done. What else is in the way of achieving peak performance and feeling good at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's a great question, Beth. I think the number one is distractions. There are so many distractions out there, like just go to social media, go to emails, go to anything else, meetings. There are so many distractions. People hardly can get anything done. If you are not intentional with your time and with your resources, the chances are a lot of things, a lot of opportunities are falling through the cracks and you are not getting much done. So I believe distractions are number one today in a time that we live in. Number two is lack of preparation. A lot of times I meet people who fail to prepare. They don't do their research. They don't put on the work, like before their meetings. They don't prepare agendas. They don't follow up with people. They don't do meetings before the meetings. They don't connect with people. They don't build connections. If you are not prepared, you fail because you will have to prepare at the meeting. You will take much longer time to understand the project and to catch up with what you missed. So being prepared is a necessity. And I believe this is where leaders miss a lot of opportunities. And number three, doing things against their grain. This is something that not many people talk about, but it's very important. We live in times, when there's gazillion resources. Almost everybody has opinion about time management, project management, people management, leadership. The question is it really the best process, the best way for you to approach time management, project management, and your resources, the way how you do things? I believe that you really need to tap into who you are, your natural skills, your natural talents, your natural strengths. And when you are aligned with how you get your best work done, that's when you will be able to create the best results. Sadly, most of the people are looking for the next big thing, the best formula that works for, somebody else, Mark Zuckerberg. But he is a very different person than you are. He has very different strengths, very different talents. He has different team of people. His situation is completely different. The way how he gets stuff done is not going to be the same way how you get your best stuff done. So doing things against your grain will cost you a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of resources, and at the end you will end up with a lot of frustration.
I want to dig into that a lot more in just a moment. I want to back up for just a second and talk about time management, because one of the things that I have seen that gets people into trouble is they're looking for distractions to help them de-stress, and they're not intentional about those. So for time management, they'll skip lunch or work straight through lunch or skip going out for a walk, and then they find themselves falling into, you know, some game or Facebook or whatever, because they really do need the break. So do you talk about that at all, being more intentional with how you manage your distractions in order to give yourself, to become more resourced?
Yeah, so basically when it comes to time management, each of us manages our time differently. So when I talk about time management, the number one thing is what you mentioned. We all need time off. We need time to re-energize, to replenish our energy. We really need time off of work. Like nobody can sustain working 8 hours like without a break. It will kill you. And not even talking about entrepreneurs pulling in long hours, like 12-hour days or 20-hour days, you know, like they just work, and they don't eat, they don't sleep, they just work, they don't take vacations, they don't, like, it's going to kill you in the long term. So be careful. Stress is the biggest killer of the 21st century, right? So, but also when it comes to time management, there are other things to keep in mind. We all have our different way how we work and how we manage our time. For example, I like to work in longer terms, but they're really focused times. So I block off like 1.5 hours at a time, and I have to begin the project and finish the project within that time frame. For somebody who is wired differently than me, working 1.5 hours, you know, like together seems like, oh my goodness, you lost me, because they can't work in such a long time. They need distractions and change. They need to respond to different activities. So for those people, they really need to break down their activities into smaller blocks of time, right? So maybe 20 minutes, 5-minute break, 20 minutes, 5-minute break, and then longer break, and really just switch the projects as you go along. I personally, when I'm on a call, I'm on a call. Like, I can't do email, I can't do anything else. I'm really focused, I'm in a zone. But that's how I am wired. That's what my strengths are. That's how I get my best work done. So I really believe that it starts with who you are and how you best manage your time. But it starts with really knowing who you are and how you focus and how you react to situations and how you create the best results.
So that sounds like we're coming right back to figuring out how you're working against your grain and how you can get back into the flow in a way that works for you. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I think it's fascinating, you know, how a lot of people talk about left and right brain and two parts of the brain. I personally don't believe that. I believe that we all have a full brain. And our mind actually has 3 parts, not only 2. So the 2 of them, everybody heard about. So number 1 is cognitive. It's how we think. It's our skill set, it's our experiences. So basically, this is what we know to do. So what we've learned, the university you went to, the school you went to, the experiences you had, people who taught you something, or maybe what you experienced and you learned in a process. Also, maybe the jobs you took on, you know, as a side or you know, full-time. That is the cognitive side. So this is what you know to do. I know how to use computers. I know how to use technology, but I don't understand the space, you know, how to build the spaceships and stuff. So we all have some things that we know, and we have some things that we don't know. The second area is affective area. So this is the area that we call personality. It's what we feel, what we value. It's our purpose, it's our motivation, it's our preferences, our beliefs, it's our character. It's basically why do we do things? So do you want to do the work? You know how many times people know how to do stuff, but when they show up at work, they don't do it? Usually it's because they are not motivated, or their values are not met, like they are just out, they are checked off. So this is why we say, don't motivate people, hire motivated people. Because it's really hard to change this affective area, personality area. You really want to look for people who are really high in that section, right, of the brain. So the third part of the mind, the one that nobody talks about, is cognitive area. And that's basically how we take action. That's, will you do the job or will you not do the job? So you see, as I mentioned, I might know computers and I might want to work with computers, but will I do it is another question. So I can understand, a lot of things. I have a lot of knowledge. I might want to do them because the pay is there, the values are there, the preferences are there, whatever it is, and the motivation is there. But the connection is, how do I create the results? And let me tell you, there's actually assessment that measures your cognitive strengths. There's only one assessment around the globe. There's no other. And it's called Cobie Assessment. And it actually measures connection, or how we take action, in 4 areas. And I have the prop here. So the 4 areas are actually how we process and share the information, how we systematize and arrange, how we react, or how we deal with change and unknown, and then how we deal with space and tangible. So these are the 4 areas how we take action. And you see, this is actually my result. So as you can see, like I have, and these colors represent the amount of energy you have in every area, in every section. So as you can see, I don't have much energy when it comes to information. So my energy is only 3. That means that I'm not going to go in depth with the information. I am going to create shortcuts and I really just share the most important information. And you can hear it in this, recording probably in this training, because I am not giving you a lot of information, but I'm giving you the most important stuff, right? Then the second one was how we arrange and organize. How we arrange and organize. People who have a lot of energy can organize anything and anyone. This is why I can really organize my schedule. And how I will manage my time, I will be planning in advance. I will really manage my schedule well. People who don't have much energy, they cannot arrange their time. They cannot manage their time. They can't plan. And this is where they get frustrated. I wish I could plan like that. I got like 5 planning trainings. You know what? You just don't have enough energy to follow through on it, right? That's why it's follow through. So what you need to do, you just need to act in a spur of the moment and maybe hire an assistant to keep you on track and on time, right? So quick start is how we deal with change and unknown. So people who have a lot of energy in here definitely come up with creative ideas. They disrupt and they always surprise you with new thing, new idea. And then people who don't have much energy, they just look at, oh my goodness, this is going to break everything apart. It's not good. So they look at, how can we keep it safe and sustainable? So everybody has a strength. It's just the strength is very different. Implementer shows us whether we work with our heads or with our hands. People who have long implementer or a lot of energy in implementer area, they can create things with their hands. They are the crafty people. They are the builders. They are the constructors, they build the bridges, build the houses. They help us to actually have tangible world, not just world of ideas, right? People who don't have much implementer, like myself, I will always work with ideas. When it comes to working with hands, I'll be exhausted. Guess why? It's really hard for me to keep the house clean. It's because I don't have much energy, right? So knowing who you are, what your strengths are, really shows you how you get stuff done. What is your best way of using your strengths? What is your best way of approaching time management, project management, team management, hiring people, firing people, anything where you need to create, problem solve, or take action and create the results, right? So this is Cobie Assessment. You only have to take it once. It's proven to be the same throughout your whole life. So I personally love Cobie, and the clients I've worked with, they all love it because it suddenly makes sense. Like once they get the results, they are like, oh, so this is why I could never follow any idea in a book when it comes to planning. Oh, this is why I just freeze whenever I hear a new idea or new innovation. Or, oh, this is why I love in-depth research and I always evaluate pros and cons before I make a decision. So there's nothing wrong with you. It's just you are who you are. You have your inborn native talents. And when you learn to use them well, and you learn to align your time, your energy, your business, your work, your environment, your leadership around that, you will create your best results.
This is so fascinating. As you were talking, I was realizing some ways that I'm like you and some ways that I'm very different. And the frame that you put around it, that it's where you have energy, where you are, it's not just where you're drawn or where you're interested, but where your energy comes up and says, let's do this thing. And in another area, your energy says, thanks, I'm out.
Yeah. Let me tell you a story about it. The reason why I took Cobie actually was I took Cobie first time about 6-7 years ago because I was really frustrated with my business. I was at the point where I loved what I was doing. See, like I knew what I'm doing. I was in my core competency. I wanted to do it because I love working with people. I love doing what I do. But I still had so much resistance and so much stress in me, and I did not understand it why. And somebody recommended Cobie to me. And I took it, and I did not understand it, and this is what came out. So this is my result that I got. And I looked at it, and I did not understand it. So, of course, I spoke to Kathy Cobie, who founded this Cobie Assessment about 35 years ago. And I asked her, so Kathy, I do not understand my result. What does it mean for me and for my business and for how I work? Why am I so frustrated in my business? And she explained it this way. So back then, about 10 years ago, I had a social media marketing company that's before everybody else was doing social media strategy for people. So, and what I was doing, I was actually doing research for my clients to find out their target market. And then I was setting up their websites and social media presence. So I was using my fact finder energy and implementer energy to get my work done. I love doing it. I was good at it, but I hated it because I was using much more of my energy that I had available in two areas. So I was just overwhelmed and frustrated and stressed out. It wasn't that I was incompetent. It wasn't that I did not like my clients. It was just I was burned out. I did not have any energy left at the end of the day. So once I figured this out, it was time for change. I really had to change my business model. So I had two options. I could either delegate this work to other people, or I could just shift the way how I run my business to giving people ideas and setting up their systems instead. Does it make sense?
Yes.
So once I switched it and became a strategist, an innovator, an idea generator for people, and once I started to help them with the back end systematically, that's when I started again to feel energy and happiness and just be okay with who I am. So this just makes sense once you see it, because it explains you, it gives you a new language, it gives you deep understanding of who you are, and it just pulls you in a new direction, which is like being aligned with who you are.
That is so fascinating, because I've had jobs, I've done things where I was interested in it. I liked doing it. I got pretty good at it. And at the end of the day, I wasn't happy at all. And it felt so odd because during the day I'd be really involved and engaged. And at night I'd think, I don't care. Why am I here? Right?
Yeah.
And
usually why we end up in situations like that is, first of all, we don't know our core strengths. We don't know our instincts. We don't understand what our core capabilities are when it comes to connection. But secondly, I believe we are good people. Like, we know that we can do the job and somebody needs help. So we just step in and we do it. We are good people, so we help. But we, not understanding our strengths and the impact it has on us, we burn out and we pay the consequences, right? So yeah, good people, but first we need to understand ourselves and we need to make sure that it's really aligned with who we are. I believe I'm a strong believer as a leadership mentor. You know, I always teach people that you cannot fulfill your purpose if you don't align what you do with who you are. So if you constantly work against your grain, you are never going to fulfill your purpose or feel happy in life, because you will always have that stress and loss of energy and always that fatigue in your life.
This is really fascinating and quite different from some of our other speakers' approaches. So it adds a really nice facet to understanding how best to...
I had to listen to this now.
We've had just amazing speakers on this, and you're definitely one of them. So this is really great. There was one more piece that I wanted to respond to in there. Oh, you said we're good people and we want to make a difference. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I also think there's a lot of need out there, and many of us feel drawn to do whatever's necessary to meet that need. And having a sense that we don't have to do it all, having a sense that we are best serving the world and the need that we see and the accomplishments we want to accomplish by functioning within our strengths. It sounds very freeing to me.
Yeah, and this is one of the biggest things that happened to me after taking Cobie. I felt like freedom, because suddenly I had the language to say yes to tasks that were aligned with my strengths and say no to tasks that were outside of alignment. So like by now, like people who know me, they will tell you, like, I will say no to any research every single day. If somebody asks me to, can you check this out? And I'm like, no. Or can you fix this? And I'm like, no, because I don't have implementer. I cannot fix machines. Like if there's paper jam in a printer, do not ask me to fix it. I won't. If like a vacuum is like needs to be fixed, I'm like calling my husband. Like I can't do it. I don't have enough energy. Like I did it once in one of the companies. They were like, oh, it's easy. Just, fix the jam and continue printing. And I did it and I broke the machine. They couldn't get it fixed in 2 months. So they never asked me again to fix anything. But, sometimes people don't believe you. They think like you are not a nice person. You don't want to do what is requested. But I believe it just honoring who you are and, bringing your best capabilities, your best strengths, not your worst or your mediocre. And I believe that leaders always focus on their strengths, on what they are good at, because that's what positions them very differently. If you always focus on your weaknesses, the best you can become is mediocre. But if you focus on your strengths, you can really excel. You can be really good. So I'm a believer that you should do or work in the areas of your strengths, and you should hire and delegate the areas of your weaknesses. And knowing who you are, knowing what you are good at, really helps you live in your best capabilities, in your best zone, and create your best results.
This is inspiring, Silvia. Thank you so much. As we wrap up, could you talk a little bit about your e-course, the leadership breakthrough that you're offering?
Yeah, so that's one of my favorite programs that we put together, and we are actually offering it absolutely free, so people can go and sign up for it. And it's email delivered, so every day you will get a quick lesson, and I believe there's like 5 of them. So it's like very quick, very like super easy, doable, but it's really powerful. So again, how you said, a lot of people preach something and you believe it, but then, like it doesn't work. So what I like to do, because you see, like I like innovation, I like change. So I'm going to really challenge your thinking in this course and really help you like question stuff that you've been believing deeply that doesn't necessarily work. So over the course of 5 days, super simple leadership lessons, stories, and really challenging your thinking and helping you become a better leader and treat your people better and really improve who you are. So it's a powerful course, powerful.
Lovely. That sounds really fascinating. I'm looking forward to checking it out myself. Is there any last thing you want to say before we close out this interview, Silvia?
Yeah, so I just want to encourage people to stop spinning their wheels and working in the areas of their weaknesses. Like really get to understand who you are, what your talents are, what your strengths are, and start really using your best time in the areas of your best strengths. And it will really help you save a lot of time, create better results, and lead people better, and just really improve your profitability, your effectiveness. So it will really change your game. And with the new year, like 2018, we are just starting out, yes? So we still have a lot of many more months ahead of us. So what I would like to do, I would like you to really start focusing on your strengths and start creating new results and improve who you are. And then, of course, give yourself permission to take time off and be a couch potato and replenish your energy. Because once you use it all, we all have only 100% of energy. Once you use it all, you can't go over. You will be stressed. Mm-hmm. So use what you have, don't go over, but be a couch potato and take time off and smell the roses and enjoy the birds chirping and just have fun in life. Bring in some fun into life and just don't work long hours. Not good.
Thank you. I realized I forgot to ask you when you were talking about the Cobie Assessment. Is that available on your website?
Oh, yes, definitely. So people can go to my website, silviapencak.com/Cobie, and they can get it. So the assessment is super affordable. I believe it's around $49 US. And you only need to take it once in a lifetime. And if you want a consultation with it, there's option as well on a page. But you can get assessment only if you are good at reading the reports yourself. So yeah, silviapencak.com/Cobie.
All right. Thank you so much, Silvia. I really appreciate your time. And this has been a fascinating conversation.
Thank you. My pleasure, Beth. And I'm looking forward to connecting with the audience as well. So just reach out to me on my website, on social media. I'll be happy to respond.
Beautiful. All right. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Whoops.